It was nearly 10 p.m. when the lights in the towering glass building began to dim. The last echoes of polished shoes faded through the marble corridors, and most of the city below had already settled into its evening hush. But high on the 47th floor, inside a grand corner office lined with books and city skyline views, the office of billionaire CEO James Alden still flickered with life. James sat alone, collar undone, sleeves rolled up, eyes fixed on the glowing screen in front of him. He had built his empire from nothing: cold strategy, ruthless hours, and zero distractions. Family? He had none. Friends? He kept them at arm's length. His name was Power, but his world was painfully quiet. Then something strange happened. He heard it, the sound of a soft cough, barely audible. He paused, brows furrowing. Probably the air vent or the building settling. He went back to typing. Then again, a shuffle, a creak, a stifled sniff. He stood slowly, scanning the room. His office was vast leather furniture, a towering bookshelf, floor-to-ceiling curtains, and a side room he used for private meetings. He moved toward the curtain. Another sniff. James yanked it aside and froze. There, curled in the narrow space, between the velvet drapes and the glass window, was a little girl. No more than 7 or 8, thin as a shadow, with tangled hair, a scraped knee, and wide, terrified eyes. They stared at each other for a long moment. He found his voice first. "What are you doing in my office?" She tried to speak, but her lips quivered. Instead, she looked down, clutched her tattered backpack, and started to cry. Silent tears at first, then a broken sob that cracked open something inside him he didn't know was still there. He knelt down, speaking softly this time. Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." She didn't run. She just whispered, "Please don't send me back." James blinked. "Back where?" "To the shelter," she said. "They said I talk too much. And my brother, he's still there, but I had to find him food. He's sick." His chest tightened. She continued, her words quick, frantic. "I thought this was just a rich building. I saw the lights. I thought maybe someone kind lived here. I didn't know you were him." James was silent. The entire city knew his face. She didn't even ask for help. She had only wanted a chance. He motioned her to sit. She hesitated, then climbed onto the leather couch, legs barely reaching the edge. "What's your name?" Lena. He repeated. "Where's your brother now?" "At the shelter. But they're going to separate us if he doesn't get better. He gets nosebleeds and he doesn't talk much. He's scared. I just wanted to find some food, maybe $1 or something." James stood. He didn't speak, didn't question. He picked up the phone and called downstairs. In less than an hour, Lena and her brother, a frail little boy with a constant shiver named Marcus, were brought into the warmth of James's penthouse suite. A doctor was on the way. A hot meal was waiting. But it was what came next that unraveled James. As Lena and Marcus drifted off to sleep, James sat on the edge of the chair in the guest room and just stared. The next morning, his assistant nearly fainted when she found children in the conference room eating pancakes. Rumors swirled. Gossip exploded. But James didn't care. Over the next few weeks, things changed. He cleared his calendar for the first time in 10 years. He sat in school offices, met with social workers, and even read bedtime stories. At first, awkwardly. Then, with care, he learned Lena had a brilliant mind. She once built a paper phone to call the stars. Marcus didn't speak much, but he loved music. James filled the house with soft jazz and gentle piano, and slowly the boy smiled. A month later, he stood before a judge and filed for guardianship. But it was what Lena whispered one night that changed him forever. He was tucking her in when she looked up at him with those same wide eyes and asked, "Do you think my mom can see me?" He paused. "I think she sees everything, Lena." She smiled, tears welling up. Then I hope she sees that I'm not scared anymore. And neither was he. Years passed. James Alden, the ruthless billionaire, became the face of hope. He opened foundations for foster youth, funded shelters, and changed corporate policy across the country. His board hated it at first, but they couldn't argue with the results. At Lena's high school graduation, James sat in the front row, holding Marcus's hand. And when she walked across that stage, she didn't just wave at the crowd. She ran straight into his arms, because the day he found a girl hiding in his office, it wasn't just her life that changed. It was his too, forever. In a world driven by power, wealth, and success, it took the quiet presence of a frightened little girl to remind a billionaire of what truly matters. Lena didn't ask for riches, she only wanted safety for her brother. But her courage, her words, and her innocence thawed a heart that had long been frozen by loneliness and ambition. James Alden didn't just rescue 2 children that night, he rediscovered the part of himself he had buried for years. And in doing so, he became more than just a powerful man. He became a father, a protector, and a symbol of change. Because sometimes it's not the grand gestures, but the smallest voices that echo loudest in the human heart.